Over the past few months, you've probably heard about the Annabelle doll. There's one simple rule about this doll.
Don't ever touch anything, and if you do, let me know.
Above all, it should never be taken out of its protective case. That rule has been broken. Not only has the doll been removed from its secure case, it's been taken on tour across the country. And needless to say, a lot of people were not happy about it. When I first heard the news, I thought, alright, what's the worst that could happen? But I was wrong.
Right after the Annabelle doll left, two things happened in New Orleans that was really big.
A historic site mysteriously burned down. At another, one of the most haunted locations in the country, reports surfaced of prisoners suddenly vanishing. And most recently, Annabelle's caretaker was found dead. We'll also talk about the viral video posted by Sam and Colby.
You already got the Estes.
And just to clear things up, both dolls you've seen are called Annabelle. The one on the left is the movie version. The one on the right is the real doll. Today, I'll only be talking about the real Annabelle doll, not the Hollywood version. From the very beginning, Annabelle has been considered one of the most haunted dolls in the world. And her story goes back decades, nearly 50 years. It all started when a nursing student named Donna received a doll as a gift from her mother. At the time, Donna lived with her roommate, and up until then, life had been completely normal. But things began to change after the doll entered their apartment. At first, it was small things. Whenever they placed the doll somewhere, the next day it would be in a slightly different position. The movements were subtle, almost unnoticeable at first, but over time they grew more disturbing. Sometimes Donna would leave the doll in one room, only to find it in another. Things were becoming more and more suspicious. On some occasions, the doll would vanish entirely, nowhere to be found, even after searching the entire apartment. But the strangeness didn't stop there. They began to discover handwritten notes scattered around the apartment. The bizarre part? They weren't written on any paper that belonged to them. When they examined the notes closely, they realized the handwriting looked like that of a child. Then things escalated. One day, Donna noticed something horrifying. The doll had blood on it. Where the blood came from and whose it was remains a mystery to this day. At that point, the situation had clearly gotten out of control. In fear, Donna and her roommate contacted a spiritual medium, someone who claimed to communicate with spirits. The medium revealed a chilling story. Before the apartment complex had been built, a 7-year-old girl had tragically died on that very land. Her spirit, he explained, had attached itself to the doll. But according to him, the spirit wasn't malevolent. In fact, the little girl enjoyed staying with Donna and her roommate. Hearing this, Donna believed there was no danger. She decided to keep the doll with them, and from that day forward, they began calling the doll by the name of the child's spirit, Annabelle. But not everyone was comfortable with Annabelle. One of Donna's friends absolutely hated the doll. He kept warning her to stay away from it, claiming it was evil and should either be thrown out of the apartment or destroyed completely. But speaking against Annabelle came at a price. Soon after, he began experiencing terrifying nightmares. At night, he would become completely paralyzed in his sleep, unable to move. Sometimes he even woke up with mysterious scratch marks across his body. This made Donna and her roommate question everything. Was this truly the spirit of a child, or was something far darker at play? In desperation, Donna reached out to a local church, and the church recommended 2 investigators you've almost certainly heard of, Ed and Lorraine Warren. I won't go too deep into their story here because that could be an entire video series on its own. For now, all you need to know is that they were world-famous paranormal investigators involved in countless cases you've probably seen referenced in books and movies. When the Warrens began their investigation into Annabelle, they made a shocking discovery. The doll was never possessed by a child spirit. Instead, it was a demonic entity, pretending to be innocent in order to gain trust. Its ultimate goal was possession of a human being. Naturally, this terrified Donna and her roommate. The Warrens decided to cleanse the apartment and take Annabelle with them, but the story didn't end there. On the drive back, their car nearly crashed. Using holy water, they were able to contain its influence for a while. To prevent further disturbances, the Warrens built a special wooden case, designed specifically to trap negative energy. Across the front, they marked the words, "Do not open." Annabelle was then placed in their occult museum, sealed inside the protective case. But even inside the box, Annabelle's influence continued. There's one chilling story about a couple who visited the museum. They had heard all the legends and expected to see something terrifying. But when they finally laid eyes on Annabelle, they laughed. To them, the doll didn't look scary at all. In fact, they mocked it openly. On their way home, the couple's motorcycle suddenly lost control. The young man was killed instantly. Many believe that mocking Annabelle cost him his life, and that's just one of the many stories linked to this infamous doll. For now, though, we'll close the chapter on Annabelle's dark backstory and move on to what's been happening around the doll in recent times. You probably remember that the box Annabelle is kept in clearly has the words, "Do not open." But in recent times, something very different has been happening. 2025 may well go down as the year when Annabelle's activity was at its peak. This year, a paranormal exhibition tour was organized across the United States, showcasing some of the most infamous haunted artifacts. The star attraction? The real Annabelle doll. At first, people didn't believe it. Surely they thought there's no way the actual Annabelle would be taken out on tour. But when it was confirmed that this really was the authentic doll, tickets sold out everywhere. The tour went on. When Annabelle was displayed in Louisiana, something tragic followed. The very next day, the historic Nottoway Plantation burned to the ground. This wasn't just any building, it was one of the state's most famous historic sites. Authorities later blamed an electrical fault for the fire, but many people pointed fingers at Annabelle.
Apparently, Annabelle started a plantation on fire.
Not long after, strange news surfaced from the same city where Annabelle had been on display. 10 prisoners reportedly escaped from a local jail, an event that was even caught on video. Once again, online theories exploded, suggesting the doll's presence might have been connected. Rumors began circulating that Annabelle had gone missing from the tour, completely vanished. Of course, this turned out to be false, just like the rumors back in 2020. A doll this valuable with such notoriety isn't going to simply disappear. But the most heartbreaking news came shortly after. If you've seen Sam and Colby's viral video, you might remember an investigator named Dan Rivera.
My name is Dan Rivera. I'm the senior lead investigator for NESPR, founded by Ed and Lorraine Warren.
At around the 1 hour, 5-minute mark, he explained something chilling. Every time he handled Annabelle, he would end up in an accident.
Because I didn't have a good experience with Annabelle when I moved to Annabelle originally. I've gotten into a car accident because of this doll. Not just one, it was quite a few. Every time I moved this doll, it was always an accident.
And this didn't just happen once, it happened multiple times. Well, during this very exhibition tour, Dan Rivera passed away. He wasn't old. In fact, in the video recorded just months earlier, he appeared completely healthy. His sudden death has raised many questions, and countless people online believe Annabelle had something to do with it. Authorities, however, insist there was no foul play involved. The cause hasn't been officially confirmed yet, though it's believed to have been natural causes. Until the autopsy report is released, we won't know for sure. But it does leave us with one haunting question. Is the Annabelle doll truly cursed, carrying a dark energy that destroys lives? Or is it all coincidence? Strange events that only seem connected to the most haunted doll in the world?